And welcome again, folks, to another brand new MXR pedal. This is the one that I think most people have been murmuring about, because this hit the internet before I think it was supposed to. So I think a lot of people knew that this was coming. But finally, we've got one in store. We've got the chance to get hands-on with it. This is the MXR Custom Shop Duke of Tone. So from what I know, an official collaboration has taken place with Analog Mike from Analog Man. And if you know about the King of Tone, you know it's rather an unpleasant situation. If you want to get your hands on one, you've got to wait for about 4 years at this point. Probably by the time you get on a list and get to that point now, it's going to be another 4 years on top of that. So basically, you can't get one unless you pay huge premiums on the second-hand market. So in the quest for a lot of companies to try and capture that tone, MXR just went straight to the source, collaborated with the main man himself, and they've offered the Duke of Tone. Now, very quickly you'll be able to tell that the King of Tone has 2 different channels and this only has 1. So actually, this is more akin to the Prince of Tone, which is basically half a King of Tone. So hopefully the maths are holding up here so far. But basically, it's the same circuit, just distilled into a single channel. And rather than having internal dip switches and stuff like that, you've got a 3-position, basically a clipping option switch, which takes you from an OD mode, a boost mode, and lastly a distortion mode. So it's a very, very well-known pedal by this point, the King of Tone and Prince of Tone stuff. You know, it's a super dynamic, very well integrated with your front end of your amplifier kind of a tone. It's not a high-gain pedal or anything like that, but I have not played this yet, so it could be surprising. They could have added in a little bit of new special sauce to the circuit and changed it up a little bit, but I'm thinking it's going to be pretty much the same as a Prince of Tone. Now, hopefully we're going to have another video with John and myself talking about this, comparing it to John's actual Analog Man King of Tone. But for now, first impressions, I'm just going to see if it sounds like a good overdrive pedal. So, let's check it out. Here's the clean tone, Fender American Performer Telecaster into a Dr. Z Maz 18, set pretty clean. Here's the dry tone. So, all controls at 12 o'clock apart from the volume. Okay, so from the off, that sounds pretty much like what I know a Prince of Tone sounds like. I had to really bump up the volume though to get unity level out of it, but that's what I've done now. About 2 o'clock seems to be unity level with this guitar and that amp. So straight out the gate with the drive and tone at midway, it's got that really nice, it's a natural sound. It's not what you'd necessarily call transparent, because there is definitely a mid-range push to it. If I go to the bridge pickup, you'll see more of what I'm talking about. So I'll go dry again and turn the pedal on. So yeah, but you don't lose the other frequencies in a really noticeable way like you do with a Tube Screamer style pedal. That's what's really unique about this, and I think why so many people have really flocked to this pedal, the Analog Man version, is because it sounds natural. It sounds like what you want an overdrive pedal to sound like. It shapes your guitar in a very sort of mid-range specific way, which you need with an overdrive sound, so it doesn't get too flubby and too harsh on the top. But at the same time, it just sounds like you've kind of cranked up a small amp. That's kind of the vibe I get from it. So I'm going to play around with the drive. We'll go for some lower gain settings, see how it works as a clean boost. We'll play with the tone, and I think this 3-position switch really is going to come into its own with the higher drive setting. So let's try lower gain first, then I'll push the gain in a little bit. In my experience of using overdrive pedals in that kind of light gain way, that does exactly what I would want it to do. It shapes off the low end, like I said, but not in such a harsh way, and it keeps the mids in a really musical place. So that was with the drive around 9 o'clock in the overdrive mode. So now I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to turn the volume maybe back a little bit, push the drive, I'm going to turn the tone down a bit, and hopefully we'll hear the effect of this 3-position switch now. So let's check that out. So I've heard criticism in the past of this pedal and this circuit and how the switch works, and you know, people say it doesn't really have that much of an effect. It's very much a feel thing, because I noticed as soon as I went to the boost, it suddenly went wide open. You get loads more headroom out of the pedal. And when I went to the distortion, didn't really make it more distorted, but it really affected the lower mid-range frequencies. I kind of felt it from the amp a little bit more. So it's very much a feel thing. So I don't know how well that will translate across video, but believe me, it does something. But I think the OD mode is where most people use this kind of pedal. That's where it probably sounds its best, because it's most natural sounding. It does that nice thing to the low frequencies like I was saying about earlier. And it pushes the mids in a really pleasing way. So I think it sounds great. You know, it cleans up quite well on the guitar as well. It doesn't do that shimmery thing that some pedals do when you turn down the volume. So let's just play around a little bit more. I mean, I like the volume where it is. I really like the drive where it is as well, about 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, that kind of range. The tone is quite effective, so let's just sort of sweep that from low to high as well. You know, I think people often compare this circuit to like a Marshall Blues Breaker. I think that's where people assume, probably rightly, that that's where it got its origin. But then I know it was tweaked a lot over the years, and it sounds more voxy to me than anything. It's got a lot of chime, this pedal, partly helped, of course, by the Telecaster and the Dr. Z with EL84s, but it's a real chimey sounding pedal, and there aren't many other overdrive pedals that sound like this. I know there are a lot of people that try and copy that circuit or take inspiration from it, but what more can you ask for than an official collaboration with one of the best pedal manufacturers in the world, MXR, with one of the best boutique pedal designers at the helm as well, with their analog mics. So really cool, and I love all the MXR custom shop stuff. They did the Timmy as well. They did a bunch of other cool pedals. that were, very much true to the original designs. MXR is really giving those original designers credit. So pretty cool collaboration. I really like it, but let me know what you think. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on the Duke of Tone. Would it scratch the itch, or will you still remain on the waiting list? Even if you are on the waiting list, at least this will do the job for you in the meantime, and it takes up a lot less space and a lot less of your money as well. So if you want more information about this, you can click the link in the description below or up here in the top corner to head to peachguitars.com. Like I say, hopefully we'll do a video with John as well, comparing this thing to a real King of Tone. But until then, I hope you've enjoyed the sound clips. I've certainly enjoyed playing it. Head to the website for more info. But until next time, take care. See you very soon.